You're watching ABC 7 News at 7.
A lot of the comments talk about just a really abusive work environment with, poor treatment, poor training, making people cry.
Allegations of harassment. Sarasota hires an investigator to look at City Clerk Pamela Natalini. What does the mayor have to say? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on the city clerk being investigated in a moment, but first, our top stories at 7. We often describe the Suncoast as paradise. Tonight, paradise stinks. When the winds shift, the smell of red tide carries for miles, even all the way to Mayaca City, 25 miles from the coast. According to Moat Marine Lab, the stench isn't from the red tide algae, but instead from dead fish that it has killed.
This is the first time I've actually smelled it east of I-75. I've been in Florida since '91, and I've never smelled it come this far before. It's really bad this year.
Some downtown Sarasota businesses are lighting candles and incense to mask the smell because it has now seeped into their stores. If red tide doesn't keep you away from the beach, this might. Sarasota County health officials issuing a no-swim advisory for most of the county's public beaches. It includes Lido Beach, Brohard Beach, Venice Pier Beach, Siesta Beach, and Long Beach Key Beach. Health officials say bacteria found during water quality testing today is outside acceptable limits. The beaches remain open, however, any activity in the water is not recommended. 2 men allegedly drunk passed out in the car with the windows rolled up on a hot day is one thing. 2 kids passed out from the heat inside the back of the seats. Well, that's what makes our blood boil. Police say the car was parked directly in the sun on Main Street in Sarasota with all 4 windows up and no air conditioning on. A 4-year-old and 2-year-old were in the back seat, unresponsive. Police say Paul Houle and his 22-year-old son were both under the influence of alcohol. They told officers they didn't know what was going on and the children were left in their care. Both men are under arrest and taken into custody. Police say a passerby saw something wasn't right and called 911.
We would rather hear from individuals multiple times on a call than not hear from anybody at all, because had that individual not called us, we may be talking about the loss of life of 2 children.
The kids were taken into custody in the care of the Department of Children and Families. A judge has decided not to reduce the bail of the man charged in the death of an unarmed man in a store parking lot. A Pinellas County judge ruling this morning the $100,000 bail amount for Michael Draka should stand. He says it's a reasonable amount since Draka faces anywhere from 11 to 30 years in prison if convicted. The 48-year-old Draka said he shot 28-year-old Marquise McLaughlin in self-defense in an encounter that has revived the debate over Florida's Stand Your Ground law. State troopers will be out in extra numbers over the next 2 weeks, concentrating enforcement efforts on impaired drivers throughout the Labor Day weekend. As part of the National Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign, law enforcement from the Florida Highway Patrol will be looking for signs of drunk or drug drivers across the state. Last year, there were nearly 2,900 fatal accidents in Florida.
All of our families are on the road, so it is imperative for us as drivers to be responsible, and that responsibility is being 100% sober, 100% focused anytime that you're behind the wheel.
The overall number of car accidents in Florida has gone up steadily over the past 5 years. Newly arrived Puerto Ricans are suing to have 32 Florida counties print ballots and other election material in Spanish ahead of November's midterm elections. The lawsuit, filed earlier this month in federal court, demands election officials provide ballot registration materials and voting guides in Spanish in those counties. The counties named in the lawsuit include Sarasota and Manatee counties. Tens of thousands of Puerto Ricans have moved to Florida since the island was devastated by Hurricane Maria last year. The lawsuit argues the new Floridians won't be able to exercise their right to vote without the Spanish language ballots. A hearing is scheduled in early September in Tallahassee. Now let's head over to ABC 7's Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan with the First Alert forecast. Bob.
Thanks, Alan, and good evening, everyone. We're looking at the Van Wezel webcam time lapse, and it's showing the clouds, high clouds, moving off into the Gulf, while the low clouds are coming in from the Gulf, and that's that wind out of the west and now out of the southwest, bringing all that smell well inland today. And we saw that earlier all the way out to Mayaca City. Now, the sustained winds are anywhere from 5 to 10 miles an hour from Anna Maria to Siesta Key, all the way into Old Mayaca and Mayaca City. So that steady west wind is the culprit for bringing all that nasty smell well to the east of I-75. And same goes true down in South Sarasota County and western portions of Charlotte County. That's about to change a little bit on Friday, more so over the weekend. We'll still get a west coast sea breeze, but it won't penetrate that far inland, and it won't be around as long as we've seen over the past couple of days. That's why the smell has been so bad, that steady west wind, as a result of the repositioning of the high pressure ridge, which is typically to our north. It's been to the south and west of us, bringing us that onshore flow, which also limits our late day storms. We don't see much at all going on right now, where typically this is lit up with showers and thunderstorms progressing back toward the coast, but it's not the case right now. We have one lone shower north along just to the east of I-75, just to the east of Ruskin. That is about it, really. A few isolated cells well inland, but the heaviest rain by far has been along the east coast. That stationary front to the north is weakening and will fade away overnight, and then high pressure will be allowed to build back in to our north, which will give us that southeasterly wind throughout most of the day. It's 87 degrees right now, and the heat index is at 97. We'll have much more, of course, a little later. We want you to visit our website, mysuncoast.com, for all the latest news and weather. You can just go there at mysuncoast.com and click on some of the stories there and hit the weather tab at the top of the screen there. You see it second in from news, and check out the weather as well. Alan?
Thanks, Bob. What is going on at the city clerk's office in Sarasota? An investigation is now underway into whether the city clerk herself has created a toxic work environment. But as ABC7's Taylor Tarragano tells us, one former city commissioner is charging she tried to raise the issue years ago, but no one listened. Taylor?
Good evening, Alan. The first public accusations arose in 2016, but I'm told today by a former city commissioner that the complaints against Pamela Natalini began long before that job performance review 2 years ago. It's a similar song.
This has been going on and on and on.
Though allegations didn't come to light publicly until 2016, this former city commissioner says right after Pamela Natalini was promoted to city auditor and clerk in 2010, the complaints began.
That this was a abusive work environment, that the city auditor and clerk was very suspicious, that she was always checking on people who challenged her.
Chapman says those accusations were first detailed in a resignation letter from a former employee under Natalini in 2011.
I have to say, everybody in City Hall knows it, and they just don't want to deal with it.
On the contrary, Mayor Liz Alpert says she's never had any issues with the job Pam Natalini has done.
I think it's unfortunate. I think that the clerk does a really good job for the commission and interacting with the public.
But when it comes to the employees, Alpert says the complaints are alarming.
I take them very seriously because, you can't ignore that many people who say she's a terrible boss.
Most recently, 22 claims of a toxic work environment from anonymous employees under Natalini during her annual review early this year. Among them, quote, Pamela is a cruel, self-serving individual. She manages by intimidation. I've seen her bring employees to tears over simple matters. The final straw came in the form of a 5-page letter from a fired employee last month, detailing several occasions where Natalini was a, quote, horrible manager. It was then the City Commission decided that it was due time for something to be done. Monday night, commissioners heard a presentation from the Human Resources Director about a potential course of action.
As part of what we're being asked is whether or not the complaints that were raised, warrant particular either recommendation for disciplinary action or whether they can be discarded as folks that have separated from employment and now have complaints.
HR says it narrowed the options down to 3 third-party investigators well accredited to get to the bottom of this. 2 of them are attorneys from national law firms. Commissioner Hagan Brody recommended HR choose the least expensive of the 3 and preferred the local option, a Sarasota HR professional consultant.
All we need is somebody to interview the current employee employees and get a credible assessment on what's going on over there, because we've gotten these anonymous complaints and we have to address it.
The vice mayor suggested that HR would make the best educated decision of which of the three to hire, and the commission unanimously agreed.
You have the best judgment if there's a conflict, you understand what the scope of the work is, and I would feel comfortable with you as a professional making this decision.
HR says this investigation will include a review of any supporting documents and interviews with current and former employees under Natalini. But before it's even began, Natalini voiced her intent not to cooperate.
I just want to put on the record, Bob, I will not be interviewed regarding this process due to the way much of this has been handled and played in the media.
Though she hasn't said much more in her own defense, Martin Hyde calls himself a friend of Natalini and says she's not the monstrous woman those 22 complaints have made her out to be.
22 from nearly 700 people, and you've got to remember, if you ask the right question, you can get a complaint about almost anything. Most of them weren't directly from her department, and the fact is subordinates are always going to have, if it's anonymous, take the opportunity to take a whack at their boss.
Now, the commission voted that HR stays within $35,000, the $35,000 it has in a legal fund to pay for the investigation. They say they also hope to get a standard practice from the outcome of this in a similar situation with another charter official if that happens again. We did ask Natalini for further comment, but she denied.
Taylor, thank you. In a moment, Sarasota's mayor at the trapezoid.
You know, fortunately, this was my first job out of college, so I was able to come back home and work in my hometown. I wore two hats. I was sports director and I was a news anchor. I did that for a few years and then decided to go full-time into news. Well, I love our team here at ABC7. We have a great mix, and it really is a great mix of personalities, of experience that meshes really well into a really strong team. I'm Scott Dennis, and I'm here for you.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
According to Golf Digest, 2 of the nation's top golf resorts are on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, the Auburn Opelika Marriott at Grand National, and the Renaissance Ross Bridge Golf Resort and Spa in Birmingham. Plus, the Marriott at Grand National was recognized as Hotel of the Year by Marriott International. Experience luxury and world-class golf Southern style. Visit rtjgolf/resorts or call 800-949-4444 to book your trip to the trail.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TruStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
Imagine a world filled with pillow fights, playgrounds, and the search for the perfect climbing tree. Every kid deserves that world, but 1 in 5 kids in America struggle with hunger. At No Kid Hungry, we're committed to creating a world where every kid eats healthy food every day. We raise funds, we help families, and we lift up communities.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Welcome back. The Sarasota City Commission this week voted to launch an investigation into the city's auditor and clerk. This comes after accusations surfaced that Pamela Natalini created a hostile work environment, pitted employees against each other, used threatening behavior, resulting in some workers to ask for transfers or just quit. It's alleged it has been going on for years, but only now is the City Commission moving to get to the bottom of it. And it won't be cheap. It's estimated that it will cost between $11,000 and $35,000 for an outside investigator. And joining us for more are Sarasota Mayor Liz Alpert and Nicole Rodriguez, who covers City Hall for the Herald Tribune. And we also want to make note that we did invite Ms. Natalini to appear on this broadcast, but she declined. And Mayor, first, let's get an update in terms of, with the commission, where are we in terms of hiring this outside investigator?
Well, Monday night, the commission voted to give the Human Relations Department the authority to pick from 3 potential outside investigators that they have talked to and given the scope of service to, because our theory was that they're the best ones to decide which one would really be the best one that fits this particular investigation.
And this is not something that the city could handle in-house?
Not really, because I think in a situation like this where there's accusations that, it's sometimes a he said, she said kind of thing, it's much better for an independent third party to come in and have just an unbiased view of this is exactly what's going on and this is my recommendation for how it should be handled.
Nicole, how long has this been bubbling up in terms of the City Commission? I mean, I did hear rumblings about this a while ago. What happened here?
Right. It was first made public in 2016. Former Commissioner Susan Chapman kind of brought these allegations to light that, Ms. Natalini was allegedly berating her employees in front of, other employees. So, we had that situation a couple years ago, but the most recent string of complaints happened in February of this year during employee evaluations for charter officials, which is Ms. Natalini, the city manager, and the city attorney. There were about almost 24 complaints anonymously about her behavior, her allegedly cruel behavior, showing up late, writing passwords down in notebooks.
Going back how long?
I'm not sure exactly how long. It would depend on how long each employee was there.
How long, but from what we've read and the understanding, it has been going on for quite a while.
The obvious question is what's taken the City Commission so long to start this kind of investigation?
I think that's a really good question. I am not certain, and it could be because I believe, the city auditor and clerk does an excellent job for the commission. She has really good institutional knowledge of how things have been done, and how things should go. And so she offers really a great wealth of experience that is helpful to us. And so I don't know if that's why nobody's wanted to tackle that.
Okay, our conversation on the city clerk investigation continues right after we get a check on the First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. We'll take it now in the Lakewood Ranch webcam showing some clouds occasionally out there, but a pretty nice day if you take away the smell. We've had smell reported east of I-75. It, again, looks like it's going to be not a big concern tomorrow, as we'll start to see more of an easterly component to our wind. Again, Lakewood Ranch is showing just a few clouds around there, a few storms well inland, but those are very few and far between, and it looks as though we'll see just a slight chance for an isolated storm to pop up here and there throughout the evening hours. That rain chance is still very small, and you can see the skies look pretty nice for the most part. As I mentioned, just an isolated shower or two possible through this evening. Let's get a look now what's happening with the weather headlines. They read like this. We are expecting a wind shift to begin on Friday, so we've had westerly winds for the most part throughout the day today. And that west wind, and last night too, carried that smell well inland. Now tomorrow it's going to start to change, become more out of the southeast by mid to late in the day, and we'll see a west coast sea breeze still develop, so that'll happen, but it won't get as far inland. What's happening is that frontal boundary that's been stretched to the north of us will weaken and fade away. High pressure will then build in behind it, and that will provide us with that east to southeasterly wind throughout the weekend as well. Right now, the storms that you see are very isolated. There's one lone shower there. We had some rainfall earlier this morning. There is an outflow boundary which will be heading southward from that big storm system well north of Interstate 4, but for the time being, all is quiet here this evening, and looks like that one lone shower there just north of Bethany and State Road 64 will be moving off to the southeast. Now, the futurecast is indicating 1 or 2 lone storms popping up this evening, and then to start things off tomorrow morning, this is at 5:30, there could be a few isolated cells offshore. They'll have a tendency to develop inland by about noon, and then that will develop even further inland, and then that southeast wind will carry some of those storms back toward the coast later on in the day. So we could have some storms around tomorrow for football Friday night. Saturday, similar conditions. A nice start to the morning. We'll have east to southeasterly winds throughout the morning, and then the afternoon and evening storms will be back, and they'll be strong, and they'll be a little bit more widespread than we've seen, so a lot more lightning coming back into play over the weekend. Well, in the Atlantic, we're watching this tropical wave. It's set to emerge out into the Atlantic. Conditions are unfavorable right here. We have some strong winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere, but about 5 days from now, once it gets in the central portion of the Atlantic here, there's a chance, a very small chance, it could develop in 5 days. And once it gets throughout here next week, there's a real good chance, I think we may see something popping up there. Over into the other ocean, this is Lane. Top winds are at 130. It's moving to the northwest at 7. We have a camera, a live webcam that we're showing here from the islands, and you can see that surf off in the distance. It's high. We're expecting 25-foot waves to be rolling on shore. You can see some of that wave action already starting to crash on the area beaches there. Winds are expected to die down a little bit, and the forecast path and track take the storm right on off to the north and then eventually to the west. Now, it looks like it's going to stay offshore as far as the core of the heavy winds to the south of the islands. There's still a chance it could graze the coastline there, but for the most part, the strongest winds, I think, will stay to the south of Hawaii, but the big rains won't. 20 to 30 inches not out of the question in some isolated areas. Southeast winds turn to the south at 10 knots for boaters, a light chop out there. The extended forecast, a good chance for late day storms tomorrow. Even better on Saturday and Sunday in the afternoon and evening. That carries throughout much of next week as well. Highs in the low 90s. We'll be right back after this.
How do you open tough jar lids? Do you try this one? Or this one? Or how about this one?
Honey?
This is the future. Shouldn't there be a robot for this by now? There is. Introducing RoboTwist, the robotic jar opener that easily twists off even the toughest lids. Just set it down, press the button, and watch it work. First, the RoboStrong vise locks down tight. Then the powerful twisting action unscrews the lid. RoboTwist is yours for the special introductory price of just $19.99. That's right, the robotic jar opener that easily twists off even the toughest lids, all for just $19.99. Whether the jar is big or small, RoboTwist can open them all. Supplies are limited, so don't delay. Here's how to get yours today.
Call 1-800-347-1073. That's 1-800-347-1073. Or order online at buyrobotwist.com.
Every time you purchase a fishing license or register your boat, you're helping to preserve our nation's coastlines, lakes, rivers, and streams, protecting memories for generations to come. Learn how your participation in boating and fishing can help the environment at takemefishing.org/conservation.
Addiction is a dark place, but just as each new day breaks, there's light. A light that illuminates the people by your side. Out of the darkness, you are walking with 22 million others struggling with addiction. The cure to darkness is light. The cure to stigma is love. And the cure to disease is treatment. Join us as we walk into the dawn of the new day. Together, we are stronger than addiction. Learn more at chatterproof.org.
Growing up, my mom was afraid of the water, something she did not want me to feel.
So I enrolled Missy in swim lessons.
It changed my life.
Missy Franklin.
And now you can do the same for someone that you love.
There's nothing more precious than your child's well-being.
So act now before it's too late.
Make us fly! I'm glad I did.
Thanks, Mom. Visit usaswimmingfoundation.org to find, get, or give a swim lesson.
They are the greatest fighting force the world has ever seen. But what does it take to bridge the distance and keep them connected to family, home, and country? What does it take to strengthen our service members so they can be the greatest force for good in the world? It takes a force. Be a force behind the forces. Give today at force.uso.org.
Welcome back. We are talking about Sarasota's move to investigate its own city auditor and clerk. And joining us for more are Sarasota Mayor Liz Alpert and Nicole Rodriguez, who covers City Hall for the Herald Tribune. So, Mayor, you were saying that the issue is not the quality of her work, it is everything else. And you're raising the question about whether or not the commission previously did not really get involved because, in fact, she does do good work.
She does a really good job for the commission, so it's unfortunate that this had to come to light and have to be acted on. But I just think with 22 employees who've actually put in writing, this is, you know, I have this notebook here of all of their feedback. You can't ignore that as the employer, and as the city commission, we are the employer of the charter officials.
But you do evaluations of charter officials on a regular basis. Was it only now that employees were coming forward and giving the commission that kind of feedback?
This is the first time we had ever asked the employees to do just some anonymous feedback on their particular bosses so that we could do the employee evaluations. And as Nicole said, you know, obviously Commissioner Chapman, former Commissioner Chapman, brought this up a couple of years ago when it occurred, and I actually had a 2-hour private meeting with Ms. Natalini at that time to discuss with her what, you know, what I had heard, and, you know, and
what did she say?
She basically said, you know, it may be that I just speak loudly, and so people think I'm being, you know, berating them. And really, I don't felt like that there was an issue.
Nicole, what has been, if you could describe it, the talk around City Hall in terms of even before the City Commission made its move here? Was this well known among employees generally in City Hall?
You know what, I don't believe so. Since I've been here since February, I haven't heard whispers about Ms. Natalini. As a reporter, you know, working with the clerk to get public records, she's been very transparent. So if this is indeed happening, she gives no sign, you know, publicly about you know, any of this sort of behavior.
And what's been the reaction since this came to light? And obviously, as you mentioned, Commissioner Chapman did bring this up a couple of years ago, but has there been a disagreement on the commission in terms of how to handle this?
You know, I think the commission is on the same page with launching this investigation. They've all voiced that, you know, Ms. Natalini's she's been a good employee to them, but they just want to get to the bottom of these anonymous complaints.
We only have 30 seconds here. I know we have tried to get her for comment. Have you? Has she said anything to you?
In the past, she's denied the allegations, and I reached out to her yesterday for a comment, and she did not respond.
Okay, we have to take another quick break. We're just getting warmed up. Our conversation on the city clerk investigation will continue after a quick break. Stay with us.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
Everyone's buzzing about Suncoast View, live at 9 on ABC 7.
I like watching the Suncoast View. I like the Suncoast View.
The cooking segments, I love the recipes. The theater segments are terrific.
Join Stephanie Roberts, Linda Carson, and Joey Panic on Suncoast View for hot topics, everyday issues, celebrities, food, fashion, fitness, and everything in between. Nothing is off limits.
They're just fun.
For smart, fun talk in the morning, watch Suncoast View, live at 9. Weekdays on ABC 7.
When you are home alone, an emergency can become a tragedy. However, with any of Life Alert's 3 emergency systems, help can be summoned immediately, whether in the bathroom,
I've fallen in the shower.
at home,
Help! I've fallen and I can't get up.
and on the go.
Help! I've fallen in the park and I can't get up.
Don't worry, help is on the way.
Life Alert saves a life every 11 minutes.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-518-0221. That's 1-800-518-0221. Call now, 1-800-518-0221. For a free brochure, call 1-800-518-0221.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
Did you know that a dirty CPAP system could make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, it would keep you up at night. Now, SoClean.com has released the world's first automated hands-free CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. With its patented design, SoClean is fast, effective, and hands-free, killing 99.9% of all CPAP germs and bacteria. Try SoClean now through this special TV offer, risk-free for 30 days. Just call 800-604-0398.
The SoClean works and it's a really effective product, and I couldn't believe how easy it was to use.
SoClean works on all popular CPAP machines and masks, destroying CPAP germs and bacteria without the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. Just place your mask in, close the lid, and walk away. Voila! Sanitized and ready to use. Try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. This is a limited-time offer. Call now, 800-604-0398. Or visit SoClean.com today.
You're watching ABC 7 News at 7:30.
Welcome back. We are talking about Sarasota's move to investigate its own auditor and clerk. And joining us for more are Sarasota Mayor Liz Alpert, Nicole Rodriguez, who covers City Hall for the Herald Tribune. We're continuing our conversation. And Mayor, what is the process right now in terms of, number one, you have to hire a firm to do this kind of work. Right. How long will this investigation take? And what do you want the options to be at its conclusion?
Well, we don't know yet how long the investigation is going to take. The firm that's hired then will tell us about how long they think they need. And I think the other night at the commission meeting, the HR department said they thought it would be 75 to 100 hours of work because they're going to interview each and every employee, including some of the past employees who have left. So that's going to be quite a job. Then compile that into a report, and then also do a report on recommendations on what they think should occur and what should occur whenever we have complaints against any charter official and the steps that we should take.
That was my next question here, because what governs the Commission's ability to take any kind of disciplinary action here, including termination? Is this a union issue? Is it a civil service issue? Is it a contractual issue? And if it is, does that limit what the Commission can do?
It's not a union issue, and it's not a civil service issue. It is a contractual issue, but as the city commissioners, we are the boss, so to speak, of all of the charter officials. So I think our actions can be anything we deem them to be.
Nicole, since this really came to light in earnest recently, has anybody spoken out for Ms. Natalini in terms of that she is a good employee, that these allegations are not true, or that these workers are disgruntled for whatever reason?
I do know that in the batch of anonymous feedback, I believe there was one good note, and then the mayor also mentioned a former or soon-to-be former employee also gave good feedback about Ms. Natalini. So she does get, you know, positive feedback for her management style, but the majority of the anonymous complaints and a recent complaint by a former employee who named himself are, you know, majority negative.
You know, Mayor, is there anything in common in terms of the types of complaints that we have here in terms of pattern or of conduct by Ms. Natalini? And is there any evidence about, you know, why these employees are coming forward with these accusations now?
I think they're coming forward because they were allowed an anonymous forum to be able to express their views, because the overriding complaints, I guess, are that they're intimidated by her. She leads by intimidation, that they berate, she berates them publicly in front of other employees to the point of they're in tears, doesn't provide them training, comes in late, which results in employees having to stay till 8 or 9 o'clock at night because of what needs to be done, that they can't do it in the morning, and you know, she's not there till 12, 1 o'clock. So it was a consistent pattern of these kinds of complaints.
You know, I'll say once again, we asked Ms. Natalini to appear on this broadcast, but she declined here. But it's my understanding, Nicole, that she says that she will not do an interview with whoever is investigating this. And what exactly has she said, and has she said anything else in terms of how she's going to handle this? It's not, you know, it's pretty uncomfortable to be under investigation by your employer.
Right, I'm sure it is. Yes, at the commission meeting on Monday, Ms. Natalini made it known that her comments were brief, but she said she would not be participating in the investigation. She won't be interviewed as part of the process, but she did say she would encourage her employees to participate, to give their feedback to the investigators.
Mayor, what's your reaction to that?
I think, you know, I think the smarter thing to do would be to fully cooperate with any investigation, because if you don't allow yourself to give your side of the story, then everybody else gets to tell their story, but you've waived your opportunity to be able to say, wait a minute, here's the reason for this, this, and this, you know, and maybe there are explanations. We don't know that.
I believe that, has she taken issue with the commission in terms of how the commission has gone about this, and has she made any representations in terms about the fairness of the commission?
She has, other than what was mentioned at the commission meeting on Monday night, that she said, as Nicole said, she wouldn't participate in the investigation, that she was not happy with the way it has been covered in the media, and how some of the commissioners, and you know, I'm sure I'm included in that, since I have not hesitated to discuss the issue.
Has she obtained any kind of representation that has reached out to the city as of yet to
Not
try
that
them
I'm
again?
aware of. Not that I'm aware of.
How often, Nicole, if you know, in your brief tenure here at City Hall, have you seen a situation like this where there have been rumblings about a particular employee that has reached this kind of level?
Mm-hmm. Well, I've covered city government around Florida for about 10 years now, and I've really never seen this level of complaints against a city official. So this is unique, at least in my experience. I'm looking forward to the investigation, because a lot of the anonymous complaints have said she's cruel, she berates her employees, but I'd like to know what she says to these employees to make them feel intimidated, or to bring them to tears. So it'll be it'll be interesting, the outcome of this investigation.
Mayor, I'm wondering if she does not cooperate with the investigation or give you any kind of statement or evidence in terms of her position, can that be building up to a situation that should the city commission take any kind of stance against her, disciplinary action, or more than that, that she could be setting up the city for a legal action?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, anything is possible. So.
And again, Nicole, has the commission been united in terms of the approach to this investigation, or are there dissenting voices?
They've been united on trying to get to the bottom of this issue. The vote to let the Human Resources Director select a firm and bring that firm's contract back to the commission was unanimous on Monday night. So they are united on that front. And you mentioned a lawsuit. I believe in the anonymous complaints, an employee said, you know, a class action lawsuit with her behavior is inevitable. So I think the commission wants to avoid that at all costs, and they've mentioned before, you know, taking any drastic steps regarding Ms. Natalini's employment. They wanted to, and the mayor said she wanted to have Ms. Natalini do some training for her anger issues.
Okay, we have to take another quick break, and we'll be back for final thoughts in a moment. Stay with us.
Another pair of satisfied emotions. Looks to me like elation and maybe some amazement. It's part of the Honda Summer Spectacular event experience. You could say satisfaction comes standard here, just like the Honda Accord comes standard with a luxurious, roomy interior. All at the Honda Summer Spectacular event.
We see it all the time.
Visit your local Honda dealer and test drive the Honda Accord, 2018's North American Car of the Year.
Clogged pores are disgusting. Introducing DermaSuction, the easy way to suck that yuck out of your pores. DermaSuction removes blackheads and dirt from your pores. Just look at everything it extracts. The secret's the gentle vacuum action. Watch as DermaSuction extracts so much yuck, leaving your skin feeling clean and youthful.
The gunk that had been pulled out, I was pretty horrified, but better in the DermaSuction than on my face.
It's almost addictive because you can see all this stuff coming out of your skin that you don't even really know is there.
Call now to order your DermaSuction for just $19.99. We'll also include our small and large body probes, the Sonic Microdermabrasion probe, and the handy travel case, all absolutely free. Order now and you can double the offer. Just pay a separate fee. You can get all this, but you have to order now.
Call 1-800-213-9301. That's 1-800-213-9301. Or visit dermasuction.com. So call 1-800-213-9301 now.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
In life after the military, it's our duty as veterans to have each other's back. I'm retired Colonel Greg Gatson, and it's my mission to help you get the benefits and services you've earned. If you need to file a VA claim, remember these important steps. Submit an online claim through ebenefits.va.gov. Work with an accredited Veterans Service Organization, or VSO. And if you need to attend a VA claim exam, please go. Visit this website to learn what to expect.
And our guests join us right now for final thoughts. On Nicole, I'll start with you. Since the city made its decision earlier in this week, what has been the feedback and what do you hear around City Hall in terms of where we are and where this is going?
Well, I received a call today from a reader who said she also has a complaint. So I think, after Monday night's meeting, we might see people come out of the woodwork with more feedback. But I think the main takeaway here is that the taxpayers deserve to know how their government is operating. These are all government employees. They're being paid with taxpayer dollars, and they want a functional government.
The call that you got, is this from somebody who worked at City Hall or just for somebody who had to deal with the city clerk?
She said she had a story about the clerk, so I didn't get to directly speak to her yet. But
so Liz, obviously the city has a lot on the line here, because as Nicole said, that if nothing is done, you're going to have a bunch of angry city employees who may take their own legal action, and if you do take disciplinary action, you may have an angry city clerk and auditor who is going to take her own action.
Well, yeah, it kind of puts us in a really bad position, but I think that bringing in an outside investigator is the key to making sure that whatever action we take is the appropriate one. So, and I agree with Nicole. I mean, taxpayers deserve to know how their government is working and know that it is working, and that we're watching out for their best interests, including the people who work at the city.
Okay, once again, I'll ask Pamela Natolini, if you're out there, you got my digits, give me a call. We would love to have your side of this story so people can know where you stand and what we should know about your story. Before we go, we want to share with you what some of our viewers had to say about last night's topic on the political climate that we're experiencing. We've seen people protest the president, but it has gotten increasingly worse over the past year. And when protesters show up, so do supporters, and it could turn violent. What's the reasoning behind all of this? We went to Facebook for your thoughts, and Edward says, people are angry on both sides. You think? Rose Marie says, Obama divided this country. That's why we have Trump in office. The conservatives are tired of the double standards. Why can Maxine Waters initiate violence and nothing is done? People are sick of all the fighting, so stop stirring the pot all the time. The media is responsible more than any other president for all this division. Okay, thanks a lot for that. So Teresa responds by saying, you are absolutely wrong and strongly frightened and bigoted. None of those things that you typed are accurate. Bigots who are scared of their own shadows have caused division in the U.S. since it was founded. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation on tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast.com/ABC7. We want to thank our guests for being here tonight, Sarasota Mayor Liz Alpert and Nicole Rodriguez, who covers City Hall for the Herald Tribune. When we return, our primetime headlines, so stay with us. Right now, let's get a final check on our first alert forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. And right now, we're looking at the Casey Key webcam review. Since 1 o'clock this afternoon, you can still see that discolored water quite evident on the time lapse here on Casey Key, and it's pretty calm out there too. A nice sunset expected. Still a little bit of a steady west to southwest wind up and down the coast. The frontal boundary, which has changed our winds around as a result of the high pressure slipping down to our south, is weakening, should fade away tomorrow. That will allow high pressure to build back in from the northwest and settle right over North Florida, which is fairly typical. It'll be around to our north, will give us that east to southeasterly wind throughout the weekend. Right now, look at this, just a few showers in the last half hour have popped up in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. So 1 or 2 lone showers, not out of the question. The atmosphere is still pretty dry, so the storms won't be around long, or showers, if you will. Won't be around all that long due to the drier air. In the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere, that atmosphere will moisten up a bit tomorrow, and especially, I think, over the weekend. We had 1 lone shower there near Lorraine Road that has since moved on. This model showing some inland storms, but you'll notice it was initialized not very well because it showed big storms over Polk County. There aren't any there right now. It's a little bit further off to the north. So 1 or 2 lone showers not out of the question. I don't think as many as that model was showing, but to start things off tomorrow morning, 1 or 2 out there in the Gulf of Mexico. And those will have a tendency to start to work in as the sea breeze works in throughout the midday, showers and storms. But the sea breeze won't get that far inland tomorrow because of that southeasterly wind. And we have to keep an eye on the football Friday night. We could see some showers and storms around, which could cause some problems, it looks like, later in the game as those storms move off to the west. Now, Saturday, a better chance for scattered showers and storms in the afternoon. And one thing we have missed lately is a lot of lightning. Now, we've had occasional lightning strikes this morning across the area, but this is going to bring more intense lightning strikes, I think, up and down west central Florida, so we'll get back into that pattern beginning tomorrow, more so Saturday and Sunday. Well, the pattern out in the Atlantic has been very quiet in terms of tropical development. There's one system here that models are starting to grab and suggest that maybe 5 days from now, it may start to develop into something tropical down the way, so we'll keep an eye on it for you. This is definitely developed. It was at one point a 5, now it's a 4, and it is weakening. It's expected to weaken too. This was one buoy, and notice this time at 3:30 our time, the center of the storm was right over the buoy. Winds got down to 7 miles an hour at one point. And then they'll start to pick up. Waves at 32 feet high, though, in the middle of that hurricane. And now it's out of the west at 4:30, and then you'll see as we move through time, those winds are picking up, indicating that the storm is now moving, and they're getting that west flow around it and that counterclockwise swirl in the northern hemisphere. And it's going to continue to move toward the islands here, but it doesn't appear that the core of the heavy winds will be there right on the land, but they will get some pretty heavy rainfall. And it looks as though they could see some stronger hurricane force winds, but we're not going to see a category 4 or 3 hit the islands. It doesn't look like at this time. We could get a 2 or a 1, which is still bad, but not as bad as a 5 as it once was. 87 degrees right now. Feels like 97 only, right? Not bad. Winds out of the southeast for boaters tomorrow, turning to the south at 10 knots. We'll have a light chop. And the forecast, as I alluded to, good chances for scattered afternoon storms over the next 7 days as we get into our normal pattern, which hasn't been normal at all this summer. Alan will be back with primetime headlines right after this. Stick around.
Planning a Carnival Fantasy Cruise out of Mobile? Then check out the park and cruise packages at the luxurious Battle House and Renaissance Riverview Plaza hotels. Stay at the Battle House for $169 per night, or the Riverview Plaza for just $149 per night, and leave your car for the duration of your cruise. Includes transportation to and from the cruise terminal. If you're cruising out of Mobile, come stay with us. Call 1-800-MARRIOTT or visit Marriott.com now.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TrueStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189. Now, for a free, no-obligation quote, TrueStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
I'll be right back.
To be able to just get my son here and not think about how we will pay for it, it just takes so much weight off of my family. St. Jude allowed me to focus on being a mom to Bryce. And sometimes I'm just in awe of the impact St. Jude has, not only on this community, but the world.
All hands on deck. What's up? I want to point out 3 tips for using the home computer more safely. Point away.
First, stop. Make sure your software is up to date and that you've password protected your computer's login and Wi-Fi connection.
Next, think before visiting a site, opening attachments, or clicking on links.
Then connect, knowing you're helping make the web safer for you
and for everyone. Make Stop, Think, Connect part of your daily online routine.
Checking primetime headlines, there are new developments in the fallout between President Trump and Michael Cohen. The president's former attorney implicated Trump while pleading guilty to campaign finance violations that allegedly involve a well-known tabloid. ABC's Kenneth Moton reports from Washington.
White House press aides shouted down reporters as they tried to ask President Trump about the latest headlines engulfing him.
I'm not involved. I wasn't charged with anything.
Trump on Fox News hours after his former personal attorney Michael Cohen pled guilty to violating campaign finance laws by paying adult film star Stormy Daniels to keep her claim of a sexual encounter with Trump in 2006 quiet. Cohen said he did it under orders from then-candidate Trump. The president blasted Cohen for pleading and pointing fingers.
There's this whole thing about flipping, they call it. I know all about flipping. For 30, 40 years, I've been watching flippers. I've had many friends involved in this stuff. It's called flipping, and it almost ought to be illegal.
But Cohen wasn't the only person close to Trump talking to the feds. Court documents reveal the National Enquirer's alleged involvement in hush money payments during the campaign to Daniels and Playboy playmate Karen McDougal, who claimed she had an affair with Trump a decade ago. Cohen secretly recorded a conversation with Trump in 2016, mentions David Pecker, the tabloid's publisher and longtime friend of Trump's.
I need to open up a company for the transfer of all of that info regarding our friend David.
ABC News learned the feds granted Pecker immunity in the Cohen investigation in exchange for information. The GOP chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Chuck Grassley, has reached out to Cohen's lawyer. He wants to hear from Cohen to decide if his committee needs to investigate his claims against the president. Kenneth Moton, ABC News, Washington.
Senator Lindsey Graham saying President Trump could replace Attorney General Jeff Sessions after the midterm elections in November. Graham's comments make him one of the first Republicans on the Senate Judiciary Committee to signal an openness to Trump ousting Sessions in his first term.
And I think there will come a time, sooner rather than later, where it will be time to have a new face and a fresh voice at the Department of Justice. Clearly, Attorney General Sessions doesn't have the competence of the president.
The comments came after a Fox News interview in which Trump repeatedly criticized Sessions for his decision to recuse himself from the Russia investigation. Aerosmith frontman Steven Tyler is demanding President Trump stop using the band's music at his events. Tyler and his attorneys sent a cease and desist letter yesterday, one day after Trump used Aerosmith's "Living on the Edge" at a campaign rally. The letter accused Trump of falsely implying that Tyler endorses the president. Tyler's attorneys say 2 previous cease and desist letters were sent in 2015 while Trump was seeking the Republican presidential nomination. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us, and have a great night.
A policeman stopped.
Yeah, it was the lady parked next to me.
I called my wife.
My dad got up in the middle of the night.
My neighbor helped me out.
I called a tow truck.
Anyone can jumpstart your car, but for free installation and $10 off Duracell Ultra car batteries, there's no one like Batteries Plus bulbs.
I'll install it myself.
I'd like you to do it.
Visit batteriesplus.com for a store near you.
Supan, part of the U.S. Paralympic rugby team. In my game, movement is everything. I get frustrated when my move is blocked, especially when that guy has no right to be there, even just for a minute. I love a challenge, but I don't like to play this game every day.
A message from the United Spinal Association.
Find out first at 4 on the Suncoast with ABC 7 News at 4. ABC 7 News at 4 starts with a detailed look at your first alert weather forecast to help you plan and prepare. We give you a fresh, fast-paced rundown of the day's top stories and videos, including breaking news, live updates, and traffic hotspots, all at a new, more convenient time. Find out first at 4, weekdays on ABC 7.
Each day, researchers make discoveries that bring us closer to the moment when all cancer patients can become survivors. Their progress is made possible with the help of clinical trials. Clinical trials are the brightest torch researchers have to light their way towards better treatments. And if you've been diagnosed with cancer, they may be your brightest ray of hope. Speak with your doctor and visit standuptocancer.org/clinical trials to learn more. Together, we can stand up for all of us.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. Talk with your doctor to create a treatment plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Keep up with the Suncoast. Watch your favorite ABC7 shows on your streaming device.